The raid on bin Laden's house was supposed to be straightforward. 2 helicopters, call signs Chalk 1 and Chalk 2, carried 24 members of SEAL Team 6, each man hauling 60 pounds of gear. One group planned to slide down ropes onto the roof of the house. Mark Owen's group planned to rope down into the courtyard. But Owen's helicopter crashed, and now everything was changing for the most important counterterrorism assault in U.S. history.
The story will continue in a moment.
Tell me about the crash.
The pilot mentioned, I remember him mentioning in the rehearsals, he's like, if I have to ditch this thing, I'm going to try and put it down in this courtyard. So that's exactly what he did. You could hear the helicopter winding up.
He was putting all the power on it he could, but it wasn't helping.
No, nothing. Came in and impacted. Boom. Had the angle been more, the rotors would have hit the ground, snapped off, and caused us to roll. Had the tail rotor hit, obviously would have broken, caused us to break and roll. The load-bearing section of the tail landed precisely on the wall.
The strongest part of the tail just happened to land on the wall.
Yep, and the angle happened to be perfect. It all came down to inches, really, inches either way. We stopped. The main rotor blades are still turning. I don't think you could recreate that if you tried.
Lucky,
but again, huge props to these pilots. I mean, everybody wants to meet the guy who shot bin Laden. I want to meet the pilot. I mean, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for him.
If the pilot had not brought your helicopter down intact, would the mission have failed?
No, I don't think so, because Chalk 2 was on the ground, and as soon as they saw us crash land, that Chalk 2 helicopter pilot saw that happen, decided not to push the position to go to the roof. And that's one thing that Admiral McRaven said in one of our very last rehearsals, briefs, dry runs right there in Afghanistan before we launched. He stood up and he said, hey, listen, don't try any fancy stuff. Just get the guys on the ground and they'll figure it out.
You mentioned in the book that one of the Army pilots that was flying your team looked to you to be about 50 years old.
He was definitely a little older.
But I guess in this line of work, it's experience that matters.
Yeah, he's probably been flying longer than I've been alive, so nothing wrong with that.
They had planned to be on the ground 30 minutes, but now they were running late. Owen's team landed in this courtyard, walled off from the house.
So your team does what?
I ran out here, I turned around and looked, and I see the guys on the left side of the helicopter. They're sitting staring at the front door. So they simply hop out and go right to the front door like nothing happened.
Go right to this door here.
Yep.
The other helicopter landed outside the perimeter wall, dropped all of its SEALs, and took off.
Now, what's your objective? What's your team supposed to do right now?
We are clearing and securing the southern compound.
You expect to find people in this building, and you want to clear that building so the rest of the team can do what they need to do in here.
Exactly. I think what SEALs are good at is what I consider pickup basketball. We all know how to play the game. You hear the saying in the teams is, can you shoot, move, and communicate? So we all know how to shoot. We all know how to move efficiently and tactically, and we can communicate clearly. So when something goes sideways, we're able to play that pickup basketball and just kind of read off each other.
Now the SEALs were in several groups. One group was outside the perimeter wall to make sure no one escaped. The group that was supposed to rope to the roof was outside the wall looking for a way in. Owen led his team to the outer building where they expected to find one of bin Laden's couriers.
We got to the door. Obviously, we made tons of noise at this point. It had taken a little longer to get there. So, the element of surprise is slipping away quickly. We got to the double doors. I tried it once real quick. It was locked. My buddy who was with me is carrying a sledgehammer, pulls it out, gives it a couple good swings. Nothing. Door's not going anywhere, kind of solid metal. So I'm like, okay, we're going explosive. We all carry explosive charges. I pulled one off, got on my knee, and started setting it. And right as I was attaching it, a round started coming through the door at us.
Somebody started shooting at you from inside the house, and the bullets were coming through the door.
Yep. Immediately, my buddy who was standing up started returning fire. I kind of rolled away from the door, blindly returned fire back through. You couldn't see what was on the other side, and then it went quiet. Thankfully, the SEAL that was there with me, that initially returned fire with me, spoke Arabic, so he immediately started calling out to the people inside, started hearing the metal latch on the inside of the door. Are they going to come out with a suicide vest? Are they going to throw a hand grenade out? Are they going to, spray their AK? Door opens up, a female holding the kid, a couple kids right behind her.
You got your finger on your trigger, and you're looking at a woman with her children.
Yeah. Split second. I mean, we just received fire. My buddy speaking Arabic, he's asking her, hey, where's your husband? What's going on? And she replies back to him, he's dead. You shot him.
Owen didn't notice until later, but he was bleeding, a shoulder wound from a fragment of something in the firefight.
Yeah, I just got a little piece of frag in my shoulder from some of the rounds that came through. It really wasn't a major wound at all. But I carry a set of bolt cutters to cut locks with. When I got back, I was checking my gears, any holes or anything, and I pull out the bolt cutters, and I've got the bullet stuck in the handle. So the bullet just missed me by a little bit. The handle stick up either side of my head. Right
by your neck. But you don't consider that to be a big deal?
No, plenty of other guys have suffered much worse, so it's not a big deal.
Within 5 minutes, Owen's team cleared the outer house. More SEALs entered the compound and converged on the first floor of the main building. Inside, they found another courier with an assault rifle.
Those SEALs were in the process of shooting the second gunman.
Right.
And his wife jumped in front of him.
All the women on target were very hostile. It's something very different than what we see in Afghanistan or Iraq. You typically don't see the women that are this aggressive and hostile. Even though the females had come out of this building and talked to us, they were still very combative and aggressive. And we saw that throughout the entire compound, even all the way up on the 3rd floor.
They secured the ground floor and then the 2nd floor. The team continued to head up these stairs single file. The first SEAL in line is called the point man. Owen, at this point, was right behind him, number 2, going up to the 3rd floor. The SEALs had been told they could expect one of Osama bin Laden's sons.
Guys start making their way up the stairs, and it's quiet. It's pitch black in the house. No lights, all night vision. Get to the 2nd floor. Intel had said, we think that Khalid, his son, lives on the 2nd floor.
This is Osama bin Laden's son?
Yeah. The guy in front of me, who's point man, he sees a head pop out and disappear really quick around the corner. It's like, okay, who is it? What do you think, Cat? I don't know. He literally whispers, not amped up, not yelling, not anything. He whispered, hey, Khalid. Whispers Khalid's name. Doesn't know if it's Khalid or not. Khalid literally looks back around the edge of the hall, and he shoots him. What was Khalid thinking at that time? Look around the corner. Curiosity killed the cat. I guess Khalid too.
It had been 15 minutes since the crash. It was now about 1:15 a.m.
Give me a sense of what this scene is like in there. I mean, are these guys yelling and charging up the stairs? Is there a lot of action? How's it unfolding?
It's not like the movies. The movies make it out to be, loud and crazy and everybody's yelling. This is what we do. We're really good at it, and so it's quiet, calm, like we've done it a million times before. We have a saying, don't run to your death. So nice and slow, and we head up the stairs.
Khalid is dead on this landing. The point man is stepping past Khalid, and now you're number 2 in the stack. You're right behind the point man.
Yep. I kind of trying to look around him, hear him take a couple shots, kind of see a head, somebody disappear back into the room.
The point man had seen someone stick his head out a door and shot him just the way he'd shot Khalid.
Yep.
What did you do then?
Inside the room, I could see a body laying on the ground. Over him was 2 females, real close to the door. They looked up and saw the point man. He steps in to the room, literally rushes the 2 women, grabs one under each arm, and pushes them back against the far wall. So if they did have a suicide vest on, and they did blow themselves up, that wouldn't affect the rest of the guys.
But it would have killed him.
Yeah.
You stepped into the room and saw the man lying on the floor. What did you do?
Myself and the next assaulter in, we both engaged him several more times and then rolled off and then continued clearing the room.
When you say you engaged him, what do you mean?
Fired.
You shot him?
Yeah.
He's still moving.
A little bit, but you couldn't see his arms, couldn't see his hands. So he could have had something, could have had a hand grenade or something underneath his chest.
So after Osama bin Laden is wounded, he's still moving. You shot him twice?
A handful of times.
A handful of times, and the SEAL in the stack behind you also shot Osama bin Laden, and at that point his body was still.
Yes.
Did you recognize him?
No. You know, everybody thinks it was like, you know it's him. No. To us at that time, it could have been anybody. Maybe this is another brother. Maybe this is a bodyguard. Maybe. It doesn't matter. The point is to just continue clearing.
By now, 20 minutes had passed. Every single thing the woman with the CIA had told them on the plane had been right, but time was running out. Throughout the raid, the remaining helicopter was in the air. It only had enough gas to stay for 30 minutes or so. Pakistani neighbors had discovered the SEALs posted outside the compound wall, and it couldn't be long before the Pakistani military would know they were there. One SEAL was charged with keeping an eye on his wristwatch and calling out the dwindling time on the radio. 20 minutes, 15, 10. We'll be right back.